Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my start over. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my broadcast today. My name is Jonathan. Today is day 383 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. This is your first time checking out my broadcast, a little bit about me. 39 years old, married. We have 4 children together, and I've been overweight my whole life. Uh, I got to a point last year where I really needed to do something about it. I was over 500 pounds. And so I kind of created this challenge for myself with, kind of two major focuses. One of them being that I need to stick with it for 3 years. I've never stuck to any change of lifestyle or any diet plan or any, focused on my weight for longer than maybe 9, 10 months. And then I let old habits start to creep in and the weight comes back on. The other big part of this challenge is that I have a lot of weight to lose. And in the past, I've set goals to lose 100 pounds or to get under 300 pounds. And I've been able to achieve those goals. But when I then hit those goals, I end up being in a position where I'm still very overweight. And I never have been what you would consider a healthy weight as an adult. So I challenged myself to lose 300 pounds. That way I would be closer to, 200, 220 pounds and be a much healthier weight. And then, um, and then really I would kind of be in a position where I need to figure out how to maintain and I'm not continuing to try to lose weight at that point. But, so far, like I said, I'm 383 days into the challenge and things have been going really well. I started the challenge with a 30-day water fast that I actually pushed to a 42-day or a 1,000-hour water fast. In that time, I was able to lose 90 pounds. After the water fast, I switched to a whole food plant-based diet with no added salt, oil, or sugar. Was never what had planned on doing going in, but since I fasted, I've lost another 110 pounds. And as far as diets go, I don't know that I've ever been more satisfied on a diet than I am on this diet at this point. So, if anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your guys' non-scale victories. Let me know how you're doing on your weight loss. Have you challenged yourself to lose weight or stick to it for an amount of time? I'd love to hear that. Um, and just how things are going for you guys. Uh, since yesterday, not a ton going on in my world, obviously. Um, Having to take care of the kids. Last night, Carrie had an event that had her out of the house, and with daylight savings, you can't really go out and do much right now. So we just kind of hung around the house and had a lazy night with the kids and me. Um, I ended up watching something. I can't remember what I watched right now. It was a Netflix movie. Oh, Red Notice is what I watched. It was The Rock and the guy that played Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, yeah, Ryan Reynolds. And I enjoyed it. But for food, we had a new meal for dinner. I don't know what you would call it, but the pastas were, I want to say, red lentil pasta noodles, and the sauce was a like cream sauce that had mushrooms and onions, and the sauce was really good. The noodles were not so good. It was these noodles that are made from things like red lentils, and we've had other noodles made from different things that they don't always cook the greatest. And the red lentils last night, they that pasta just didn't cook well. I don't know if maybe we overcooked it, or I don't think we undercooked it. Um, but even the water like changed color, and it was just, I would not recommend the noodles that we had. Um, but it was a meal where I did get kind of stuck because Carrie had to leave for that thing, and that's what we had for the kids because we're kind of getting them on board with our diet here. And it was not an easy sell to get them to try it. Um, Again, it's a hit or miss. The daughter that loved the miso 2 nights ago wouldn't even give this a try. Wouldn't even like. I mean, she would, but they just like touch it with their tongue and then gag, and so as much as I'm gonna get out of her. But uh, and then I kind of had talked to my kids. I guess I had a little bit of a pep talk, and it was some of what I was. Carrie says hi. Yeah, no more red lentil pasta for me for a while. Yes. We have some other pastas that we've had that work out well. Um, but I kind of had a little bit of a pep talk, especially with my older kids. I talked about it on stream yesterday a little bit about how um I've used food for years to derive pleasure and to be picky about what I eat and to only eat things that have a high taste or high um satisfaction value, uh and pushing away foods that I deemed as less satisfactory, like spinach or, you know, cucumbers, rice, things like that. Um, and that I have to shift my focus that the food is as much about just powering my body and function. It's way more about that, about powering our bodies and being functional, than it is about loving every bite of everything you eat. And uh I could tell with one of my kids that definitely resonated because they ate the they ate the pasta with a lot more enthusiasm than I expected them to. But it makes me happy because I know it wasn't the greatest tasting meal, but I also like, if she doesn't, or if they don't get the calories from this dinner, then we have to get them calories somehow. And I'm glad that we were able to get them calories through that dinner, even if it wasn't the most enjoyable, tasty meal in the world. Um, and the and we're learning as we're doing this. I mean, the red lentil pastas noodles was nothing we had ever tried before. It was something that um we know now, and we won't do that again. The sauce was great, and I think we had leftover sauce. That sauce on a potato would be good. Um or rice. I talked about it with the kids last night. I was like, this on rice would probably be really good. More so than the noodles that we um but yeah, they're slowly getting on board, and it's not there's a it's a weird way to it's not, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it without sounding odd, but they're they're going to get hungry. And they talk about this with switching to this type of diet with adults, is that at some point, and I think maybe it was even like at people at like the True North Clinic, where that's the only option of food that they have, that it's a point that you're gonna get hungry, and anything you eat is gonna taste good because your body's going to be happy that you're eating anything. And um, if we can get these sugary things out of the kids' diets, that's really what I think is holds back the acceptance of these things that aren't so sweet and so pleasurable is the sugar. And we also kind of let them put salt on their food, but we don't cook with salt in the food. We let them put salt on top of it. Um, the what I've heard about that, or kind of the thing with having, putting salt on top of the food, is that those first initial bites have that salt, and then your body doesn't realize that the as you get into the bowl, there's maybe not as much salt in it, if you just salt the top. uh and then Carrie says they'll get sick of peanut butter sandwiches eventually. Yeah. um that's kind of, you know the we don't have something else left over that they want, then a peanut butter sandwich is really easy for them to make. And uh it's um yeah, they're gonna get sick of it quick. And like I said, it's taking time, but at some point, this is all going to be a um like a blip in time in the history of us changing over and getting, like, me getting used to eating plants took me to 2 or 3 weeks, probably 2 weeks, to get like really used to eating this diet and trying these foods. And I was an adult that was highly motivated, that had just come off a 40-day water fast. So um we just have to be patient with the kids and know that it's going to take time for everybody to be uh satisfied with the meals that we're having. Uh, so yeah, that was kind of the dinner last night. I did have some snacks. I really love the dehydrated mangoes. Carrie says they really have been amazing sports about it. The older ones see how much healthier we are and they want to support us. And um, right, yeah, they see that it's made a big impact in our lives. And also, they're, yeah, other people. So um but yeah, I had the dinner and then the dehydrated mangoes. I was on a feed or something that there was a person complaining that they were eating too many, I think, dates and figs, and that they were having to cut out the dried fruit from their diet because they were overeating that, and it was getting in the way of them losing weight or reaching whatever goal they were trying to reach. And the comment feed below that kind of blew up about people talking about the dehydrated mango and how much they love dehydrated mango from Costco, and it's like the greatest thing ever. And it just made me laugh because I'm in the same boat with a lot of those people. Like, I really enjoy the dehydrated mango from Costco. I don't feel guilty about kind of overeating it. Um and It's a food that never would have been on my radar a year ago. I didn't realize it was a product that was even sold. Um, and uh, and they have like this huge like pallet of it at Costco. I mean, everything that they have at Costco is pallets, but I just the to have that amount of that is amazing. Um, so I thought that was. Anyways, I had dehydrated mangoes and then cashews. And the kids got into my cashews yesterday, or not our cashews. The cashews are becoming a commodity at the house, between me and Carrie kind of having cashews as a snack, her using them in a few of these recipes that she's been using with the Vitamix, and then our kids got a hold of them yesterday and ate a bunch of cashews. I came home and was giving them a hard time about that. Uh, and then I always kind of snack on some like mandarin or tangerine or orange, small oranges. But I did cut myself off at 7 p.m. again last night. So I kind of eat from 5:15, till 7 o'clock. I eat quite a bit, in that kind of time frame, and then I cut myself off. And then this morning, uh, had oatmeal. I really enjoy the the oatmeal. I talk about it every day, how much I enjoy the oatmeal. I think we're still doing a mix of oat groats and steel cut oats. Carrie's been making them in the Instapot and been kind of cooking them uh the kind of been cooking them uh longer in the Instapot, like letting and just getting some of the water to cook off. And it has made a difference. It does lengthen the overall cooking time though. And I think it's still saving time and it's saving effort. But still enjoying that. And then I am kind of trying to limit myself a little bit on having toast or eating too much in the mornings, but I did have toast and peanut butter this morning. Just had 2 slices of it, and generally I usually have more. Carrie says the kids love cashews. I'm sure they're probably hitting the cashews again today if we have any left. Let's see. The and then I after since breakfast, I haven't eaten since then. I've been fasting since about 8:30. Uh something I did have this morning. I had physical therapy for my arm that I had surgery on. Uh the I don't know if you scar if I right maybe scar right here. But So I had my last physical therapy session um for the surgery. I have recovered pretty quickly since having the surgery. My range of motion, kind of bringing my arm in and also extending my arm out, uh, has been almost full range of motion since the surgery. I just was very limited on what I could do as far as lifting and working out and other restrictions. So the uh thing we did today, I mean it was maybe a 25 minute physical therapy session. I don't know that it went much longer than that. It might have gone. Anyways, um but it was pretty much a workout the whole time. Like he had me essentially doing like a cardio workout. It might have been as long as a half hour, but I started out with this what I would call a hydro hand bike. So it had kind of two things you would grab and you would pedal them like a bicycle, much larger than I'm doing with my hands. But it used like there was this wheel next to me that he could turn up the pressure and it would affect the flow of water that this fan would spin through. Um, and so I did that going with my hands forward for 2 minutes and then backwards for 2 minutes, kind of back to back, and then went over and did uh 2 sets on like a cable machine of pulling my arms back, kind of a call it, but pulling my arm back and then having like my arms straight out ahead and going straight down and then doing to the side, a bunch of different exercises. He essentially had me doing things that were pushing, pulling, and bending to make sure that all my muscles were in good shape. Um, but I definitely was interested to see how I would do like fatigue wise. And um what I realized was like I was having a hard time with my breathing, and I didn't think about it till after I left. But the thing that probably was messing with my breathing the most was the fact that I had to wear a mask because of everything that's going on. And so um but I just like when I was doing exercises, like he had me doing these pulls on these cable machines, and I couldn't get my exhale out when I wanted to get it out at the right time. Or I felt like I was not catching my breath, but at no point was I worried about my heart rate. And I should looked up. I should have looked it up on my Garmin just to see what, because I had my watch on the whole time. I don't know that it would download it's fast enough. I can hit the button to see, um, but yeah, so it kind of had like a half hour workout this morning, impromptu, that I haven't worked out in a long time. And I really never felt winded or fatigued throughout the time I was doing it. Like I said, I just felt like I was having a hard time getting my breathing under control while I was doing some of the different lifts. But it was really nice that I had no issues with what was going on. I think he had the cable machine up to 60 pounds, maybe higher. At some point, I wasn't really paying attention. Um, the and Yeah, it was just funny to do any lifting because it's been so long since I've done any type of like workout, like so like the um in June, so May and June, I trained and I did a sprint triathlon, and all of the training for that was really cardiovascular and mostly leg training, like with running and bicycling. I did some swim training, probably not as much as I should have, and I was definitely fatigued after doing the swim the day I did the event. But the um at no point during that working out did I do any lifting. I didn't do any, 3 sets of this exercise, for 15 reps. Or do supersets, I guess is what you would call some of what I did today. I would go from doing one exercise to another, to maybe a third exercise, and then I would rotate those 3 exercises 3 times. And uh yeah, I don't know, I feel all pumped up a little bit. I feel like my muscles are swolled up a little bit here, but um I'm not I'm more interested to see how I do recovery wise. During that whole training with the sprint triathlon, I felt like I recovered incredibly quickly. From the surgery, the actual physical recovery has been extremely quick. And doing kind of lifting like that in the past, I know that I've had soreness for a few days. I don't know that I did that level of lifting. It's such an odd thing to kind of think about. Uh, Anytime I did lift in the past, a lot of times it was kind of to it was a much larger amount of weight, lower reps. A lot of times it wasn't a lot of doing uh an exercise 15 times at a low weight. Um, I was trying to see if this would download so that I could look at the heart rate and stuff from this morning, but I didn't even pay attention at the time. I I went back, I watched my day 18 video because it's today is November 18th. So I went back and watched my video from November 18th of last year. And, I was talking about what I still had no idea what I was going to do uh, at that point. And, I know I talked in that video about, I need to get rid of the fast food, and I need to not keep I need to not, see how long I can resist going and getting fast food. And uh I don't know, technically I guess I didn't resist going and getting fast food for a huge amount of time, because I did at some point fairly early on go to Wendy's and get a baked potato. um but I haven't really eaten fast food I didn't really eat fast food for months, and then I think I've tried the Impossible Whopper that my kids have gotten, that from Burger King, um, but, uh but yeah, that was kind of, and that was a big part of this, is getting rid of the fast food. I mean, that was what got me to being over 500 pounds, was my just constantly eating fast food and thinking about fast food and having multiple fast food meals. And then also stopping at the gas station and getting stuff out of their hot plate kind of thing, or whatever they had under their heat lights. um, and so, uh, but yeah, it's just crazy to kind of be here a year later and kind of just how different things are and how much information I've taken in, and how much my opinions have changed on things. Um, and that it's not that and it seems now that it's I feel like it's a lot of this is common sense to me now, or it seems like um a, it's just more obvious that eating the foods that I'm eating now were gonna make me a healthier person. Like, it was, I don't know if it was me trying to think of a way to hold on to, the way I was eating, and also add in healthier options, or what, kind of had to change in my mentality. But um I'm happy that it did. Uh and a big part of it has been continuing with the education and listening to a lot of new doctors and new people I'd never heard of. And like that book I'm listening to, The Proof is in the Plants, uh is uh I was listening to that book some more on the drive home and into work. And it's I try to think about what I could contribute to the plant-based kind of um movement, or the plant-based community. There's all these doctors that have done this research, and there's all these people that do all these cooking demos and showing all these great recipes. And um this book, what he talks about is exactly, what I feel like are kind of some of the most important things that we're not talking about. And it's they talked about it a little bit in that movie, They're Trying to Kill Us. But there's a lot of stuff in the system that is hurting us, and it's because we allow profit to be part of the system. um and we you know the he, I'm only like an hour into the book, but he talks about how there's a lot of intermingling between the politicians and the pharmaceutical companies and the large corporations, and how in the book he talks a lot about Australia, because he's from Australia. And but like the way things are set up there are not vastly different than here, or sometimes, one country follows suit of what another country does or allows to be done. One thing I didn't know until very recently, and it wasn't part of this book, but I just thought of it, is pharmaceuticals are only allowed to advertise on television in the United States and in New Zealand, I believe. But nowhere else in the world can you see, or do they allow pharmaceutical ads on television, I think is what it was. And He talks about it in the book though, but like countries like Brazil have made changes on their advertising policies, and countries like the Philippines have put taxes on high sugar products, and they've seen effects on their population because of these changes that they've made. But our policies are not set up for us as much as we would like them to be. Um, the recommendations that are being made are being influenced uh, by money. You know, he talks about that there's these thresholds that you can donate, you know, one person or one entity can donate X number of dollars before they have to report it. And so they just create hundreds of these little entities, or these, you know, that donate just below the threshold so that they don't get scrutinized. But um, when you add it all up, it adds up to this huge amount of money that um, is being used to influence what we see. And then also, there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of misleading information out there, and there's a lot of missing information in that these industries, they do these studies, and if the study comes out and shows unfavorable results for the industry, they bury the study. They don't finish the study. They if it's a 12-week study and 8 weeks in they notice that it looks really bad for them, they say, you know what, we're not going to worry about the last 4 weeks. You know, this study is no good. And so they but then they take studies, or and they release them and they say, "Hey, we just found out that our product is a better diet for breakfast." And what they don't tell you is that it's better than eating sugar straight from a bowl, but that's all that it's better from. Or, you know, like they mislead with the information that they give. And the industries also want us to be addicts. They want us to keep buying their products. You know, the chip ad that was, I bet you can't eat just one. Um, it, you know, we should be maybe looking more at like, what are the things where we can just eat one of and be satisfied? Uh, you know, you couldn't eat just one because you weren't satisfied eating just one. And they make these products that have these perfect taste profiles. It's the perfect taste plus, you know, so it has the right amount of, you know, the perfect amount of sugar and the perfect amount of sodium and the perfect texture. And they make this concoction that they, you know, that they want you to eat. And if it's if they make it one way where it causes you to eat more, then as a business, they almost have to make it the way that causes you to eat more, because then they'll be able to sell you more and then make money, and or make more money. And if they choose the other way that doesn't make them more money, then they have to explain to their shareholders why they chose an option that made them less money when there was an option that would make them more money. So it becomes really convoluted when you add profit and motive to all of our food choices. You know, I was listening to this book just thinking about like how come we don't have in or and it might have been this book, he talked about how much food waste there really is. There's a lot of food waste out there. And why isn't there better free food markets that are available to everyone, not just the, you know, one anyways. Um and it's, you know, I think that we may see shifts, or we probably will see shifts over the next few decades, but it's going to be very slow shifts. Um I think one of the biggest drivers for a plant-based diet is the fact that the information can get out there to so many people, and it can be spread uh, through non-mainstream channels. I would never have known about people like, you know, Dr. Ellen Goldhammer or Dr. Lyle or Dr. Clapper or Dr. Greger or Dr. Furman or Dr. You know, like all of these guys, McDougal, you know, like I never would have ever heard of any of these doctors in um any of the normal mainstream places, you know. And a lot of it does come down to is that there's not a lot of profit margin in broccoli. There's not a lot of money to be made on kale. You know, you can't mark up beans, you know, it's all um at its cheapest price. You know, you can't start adding profit until you start putting in proprietary blends and special concoctions or combinations of your foods. So, um, but I really just overall listening to the book so far, the proof is in the plants. If I were to write a book, so far this is the book I would write at this point. You know, talking about the things that he's talking about or focusing on these types of things. Because it's, you know, like I think about how much we're marketed, and trying to think, I wrote something down about it the other day, but um and just about how happy that I'm no longer part of the marketing machine that's out there that is, you know, trying to get people to go into their store and buy their things, or, you know, eat their version of a cheeseburger over that person's version of a cheeseburger. Um and I don't know. I just feel like sometimes uh I, like I said, I'm happy to be out of the machine. I just feel like I'm I'm gullible. I think that I'm easily tricked by their magic that they're doing, their voodoo that they do with the food and what they do with their signage and what they do with the you know, down to the pricing of the food and the common. Like, I used to go to Taco John's, and I don't remember how exactly it worked out, but I would order one meal over another, getting it large size, because for some reason the difference in the price between just the sandwich and the meal was 20 cents different than if I ordered other burrito as a meal. But anyways, it's just something that popped in my head. But like, just like all of the stuff that they're doing to trick me, like even the we went to the concessions with the kids at the movie theater, and the price difference between getting a small, which was 4.25, and a large, which is 5.25, is only $1 difference, but the amount or volume of what you get is so much greater. That's all pricing. They price the small way higher than they should so that they get you to buy larges, you know. And it's um and they've just spent billions and billions of dollars to learn those hacks or those tricks. You know, like we took our kids to the um grocery store, and the one grocery store we took our kids to, they literally changed the whole, well, half of two aisles. Like they made this huge section into this candy shop that they have like this horse in the middle that has like the quarter thing. I think you can ride it for free, but you know, like those machines you put a quarter in and they just kind of go up and down. It has one of those in the middle of it, and it's got all different candy and drawers that you can pull candy out of or put into bags. Um, and like we avoid that aisle completely. Like we take a hard right when we go in, and then walk around the back side of it. But even in the aisles, where we want to try to find something that they might be able to eat, uh, the the bright colored things that are targeted towards kids or at their eye level, like the fact that we have any food targeted towards children, like the Saturday morning cartoons when I grew up, like sitting there watching the Keebler Elf. I mean, that I can absolutely remember watching Keebler Elf commercials um, during Saturday morning cartoon. Like, and I got a big smile on my face while I'm thinking about it. And it's that was all. It's all a machine that they've been just pumping into us, for years. So I'm happy that I am no longer part of that system, or I'm getting away from that system. Like it slowly got me back in there with some things, um but it's also, if the system's going to start presenting plant-based options, then I kind of feel obliged to encourage them a little bit, if, like with the one example, the Papa Murphy. We got Papa Murphy's pizza, I think partly the last time because I don't think it's a all the time thing. I think it was a limited time thing they're doing. And I want them to decide to do it, or to decide to keep that plant or the vegan option at the store. So that would be the only time I guess I kind of have bought in, or I kind of buy into that, and in hopes that they keep that kind of door open for people, or to make it easier for people to transition, because those things are going to help people transition. They're going to see those options, and they're going to be less scared of changing, because that was a big part. I don't even know what I didn't even have. I don't know, like, the there wasn't a huge period of time where I was sitting here considering doing a plant-based diet. It was one day I wasn't doing a plant-based diet, a week later I'm all in on doing a plant-based diet. So but there are people that I know we've met who are on the fence about doing a plant-based diet, and they've bought cookbooks, or they've looked at the research, or they've, tried to do meatless Mondays or something. But they haven't dove right in. And uh I'm happy that we dove right in. Where we and I'm happy that we are in the spot that we are in now. But I kind of went on today for a while. I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank you guys for checking out the broadcast. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you do get subscribed. Click on the bell icon. That way you get alerted when I go live, which is generally 4 p.m. on weekdays. I'm going to go live tomorrow on Friday before the weekend, and I should be live early next week. I will not be live at the end of next week with the holiday, but I might check in on the Discord, which you can check that out. There's a link to the Discord down in the description below. The um, the Discord is a place where you can kind of come share what you have going on. Let us know, what your goals might be, or if you're on your way to reaching those goals, how you're doing it, and how you've been, how things are going overall. We share some recipes on there. I shared some photos of some of the dinners that we have had on the Discord as well. And then the other link I have down in the description is the Pinterest board that Carrie has put together, kind of showing some of the meals and foods that we eat on our diet. And just to give you some ideas, a lot of these meals and menu things, they're not set in stone. Like, that's really kind of what we've, like, there might be a hard recipe, or they might give you a recipe that says to put this amount of things or use jalapenos as the spice, and you may decide to add more jalapeno or not put any jalapeno in at all, or use a different spice that you like more than that. But the Pinterest board is where a lot of the meals that we're eating are shared at. Um, Other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. There's no reason to wait. There's nothing coming up. Thanksgiving's coming up. If you're gonna make a huge change, if you are drastically overweight and you need to make a drastic change in your life, that change is not going to be done by next Thanksgiving. And so, what are you going to do next year when Thanksgiving comes up? Are you going to go off your diet or let that be a cheat day, and then that cheat day turns into a cheat week, and then like, it's your health is more important than making sure that you get that extra piece of turkey at the table this week. So, get started on your diet right now. And if you start right now, you're already a week in before Thanksgiving happens. And you can sit there and you can use the fact that you're a week into your diet as to strengthen your resolve to stick to it over Thanksgiving. You can be at the Thanksgiving table. You can be saying, well, I've already been doing it for a week and I've been feeling great. I don't want to screw it up. Get started right now. Don't wait. Start your diet. You guys all have a great evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow.